everybody, thanks for checking us out. Two Guys How To. I'm Keith, that's June, and we're working on the 72 lowrider bug, and we managed to get a nostalgic roof rack for it. But of course, it's been in storage for so long, since the 70s. It doesn't have any brackets on it that hold it onto the vehicle right here. So it has the clips, or it has the little kind of hoop and threaded connectors that will bring it down to a clip that we're missing right here. And that's our goal today, is to make the bracket instead of buying one that might or might not fit. This looks like it's all original, so we're going to try to make a bracket that looks relatively original to this vehicle. So that's the main goal today, is to make this bracket for this roof rack so we can kind of retrofit it back onto one of these old bugs. And first and foremost, we've found a piece of metal, and it's the thickness we want. We don't want it too thick, because if it's up into here, the bracket's up under here going to there, you're not going to be able to open the door. So I'm just going to go ahead and fit it up in there, kind of at an angle the way the bracket's going to sit, because it's going to be toenailed up around there, curved. I'm just going to open this door up. We've got clearance, and this is probably a little less than an 8, I would think. It looks less than a saw blade. I'm not sure exactly what it is. We didn't mic it. Maybe a 16th or a 32nd of some sort, but it's rigid metal, and we had it just laying around the shop. And you can get it, you know, possibly at the local metal store. I don't know if Home Depot has this stuff. I mean, we just get it from the metal supplier and keep it around as we fix the floor plans. So now that we've got the metal, we've got just a piece of cardboard that we just cut out of like an old brake rotor box or something like that. So we're gonna kind of make our template based out of this cardboard. Once we get it bent the way we want, then we can just trace it off onto our piece of metal and cut it out. So we're kind of going through a couple theories here of what to do, because we want it to ride up about at least halfway once it's tight onto the threaded bolt. You got this threaded bolt that's wrapped around with a hoop up here on top of the rack, and that's what's going to pull it down and kind of keep it up into these rain guards right here, these drip edges. So we've got a piece of cardboard, we just kind of bent it at a 90, and we're going to match it up, try to match it up to where, poke a hole in the center of it. That way when we get, because later on we're going to have to get up underneath there and tighten up some kind of bolt on the inside of this, unless we make it like a newer style rack where you tighten the bolt on the outside, but we want the bolt hidden on the inside, so we can just use a little socket and get it, you know, get it done. So let's get you guys up and close here so you can see what we're doing, because you might find one of these racks, and I'd hate for you to pay $60 on a bracket or whatever they're asking online. It's just way too much money. So we're gonna pull that bolt as far out as it goes and kind of see what angle it's got, and take that 90 that we bent. We actually used the 90 that was in the cardboard, but if not, just get a piece of flat cardboard and bend a 90 in it. And we're gonna just make a hole somewhere where we know the bolt, as we tighten it, won't hit into the side part here of the metal. And kind of push it up in there. Yeah, we want to be able to get a wrench. So I'm just gonna make a little indentation. And you can see it's indented right in there. And June will just poke it out with this pair of scissors real quick. Yep. So let's go back over to here, and we can go ahead and insert that right into where we need it, and that way we can check for clearance. And we probably want about, what, halfway up there, June, by the time we use washers, and
some threads
that'll leave some threads on the top.
You gotta do it 3/4.
Yeah, and we've got our, so that kind of gives us our rough estimate of where it needs to go through the door. I guess we need to open the door, kind of make a mark there. Get the camera back for you guys. So now we've got the door open, we've got our clearance, we've got our angle. on our piece of cardboard, it's really just about cutting this across here and getting some kind of bend. The bend's going to be the hardest part, but we'll deal with that later because it is up in there. So I would maybe, I think it needs to come more to really get up under there. I'd maybe cut it like that first. Yeah, and then we can kind of just bend it and keep trimming this off as we go until it gets all the way up underneath this gutter here. Beautiful. And once we get this template cut out, we're just going to go ahead and duplicate it on the other side. We'll double check it. Really, we just need to give a nice bend somewhere in there. And bend it up underneath there. And it's almost right, isn't it? I can feel my fingers up underneath here. You can feel it. It almost replicates the contour of your finger if you were going to smear some caulk in there or something. But that's about where we want it. I don't know how we got lucky like that, but we did get pretty lucky on it. That's the beauty with the cardboard, is we can just keep trimming this edge back. So now that we've got the template kind of where we want it, we have the hole here, and we've got our bendable bottom part there. That's how it was. And then we can contour this up at the top. Instead of leaving it square, we can round it. That way it looks a little bit more aesthetic, and it won't cut your fingers if you happen to, you know, get up on there when you're loading luggage or whatever. And when you tighten that bolt, we'll just round this out best we can, or at least round these corners out. Go ahead and make the nice round corners. That way it leaves a lot of structure up there so it won't bend. And we're gonna go ahead, now we're on the driver's side, we're gonna go ahead and check our template over here to find out if it's gonna fit the same exact way. It's identical, huh? Yeah, so we're good. So both sides, if we make 2 of these, we're good to go. Let's go on over to the work table and get this thing done. Get it drawn up and cut out. All right guys, so we're over at the workbench here. We got this whole picnic table we've been wanting to work on because it's so nice outside today. And June's gonna go ahead and just trace out that cardboard template onto this piece of metal. If we go long ways, we should get 2 out, because this piece of metal's been used. It's got hot rivet holes in it and stuff. So as long as he can trace that out and we get 2 identical cuts out of there, I think that's a good deal. Good to go. You can use this as a ruler if you need it. And you want to mark where the hole is going to go at all on here. This hole. Yeah, if that's how you had it, we'd have to put the, and then we can round these corners here on both sides. That way you're not getting cut getting in and out of the vehicle. And like I said, the bend's going to be the hardest part of the whole thing. We'll get busy and cut these out, and then we'll worry about the bend up there and the bend down here. All right, so we got everything set up. We've got our metal that we chose. We know it's going to clear with the door shutting. We've got our template that we cut out. June traced everything out of here. And we got a grinder with a cut-off disc on the end of it. We've got our drill with our wire brush to clean the metal up so we can paint it after we get the dry fit up there. We'll clean the metal off. And we've got our cobalt drill bit so we can match it up to the hole that we need that's going to go up into that receiving threaded bolt on that's permanently mounted to the bracket or to the rack there. So June's going to get busy, cut these out. just making some last minute, kind of making sure the lines are straight using this square here where the bends are going to be. Most important bend is that crook at the bottom that hooks up underneath that the drip edge there on the rain guard on the car. That's the most precise. That way when you open the door it's not scraping up against there, and you also want it to hook underneath there and look good, but also serve its purpose. You don't want your rack going off, flying off when you're going down the road. We have a vise, so we're going to go ahead and put it in the vise and get our initial 90 done and keep bending it and double check it in the car door over there. That way when we pull up on it, it's hooked in there right, and then we can make our final bend across here, and we'll drill our hole first before we make our bend, and we should be good. And we'll just round these edges here, kind of contour around everything so you won't get cut and it won't cut into the paint while installing it, and we should be good, right? So we're ready to make our bends in the vise here. Let me get you guys, show you guys what's up. We're just going to slide it down in that vise there until we get that line, that magic mark that June made. Alright, so we got the vise, we got the piece of metal down in the vise, and you can see we left a little bit of the magic marker line going across there exposed. That way when we bend it, it's going to kind of take away from that magic marker mark and bend the way we want it. If we have it all the way down where you can see it, it's going to kind of bend over top of it. In reality, probably move it up just a hair. What do you think when we bend it, it's going to take out? Or do you think it'll be line up good to where, because we've got adjustment up here. Our crucial part is down at the bottom.
Good.
Yeah, I think because it is going to bend right there. It's pretty good. So it's up probably maybe 1/8 of an inch up above where we want it to bend. And we've got 2 pieces of wood or metal wedged in both sides of it so we don't make marks on our bracket. And we're pretty much ready to bend it, fold it over.
Let's try it with my hand.
Is that the way? Yeah, is that the way you want it there?
Not going all the way, right? Just a little bit. Move it up. Go a little bit more. Let's do that.
Yeah, he's just going to bend it a little bit and move it up. Maybe not even that far up. Maybe we should just keep going down and yeah, something like that. Maybe a 1/4 inch at a time. That way it kind of toenails instead of actually bending at a 90. And we can guesstimate it. We've got a pair of those duckbills in there where we can grab it with these duckbill pliers and kind of force it a little bit more later. One more time. And just keep moving it up little by little, and that should give us a nice good round bend instead of just a 90-degree bend. Slide this under there if you feel like it's going to bend too much.
Just sliding down in there.
Yeah, sliding down in there.
It's pretty
contoured. It might be a little deep. We might end up having to just shave off some from right here. But we can check it if it goes up underneath there. It's definitely rigid steel. Pretty symmetrical too.
Yeah, we should have started a little lower. But
a little lower.
We got room. We haven't drilled a hole yet, so.
Yeah, and we've got half the threads too at the top. We got the threads in the middle, so we can raise and adjust this thing too. Once it's like that, we can. You know, we can put the bend down lower if we want.
And if you get too far up past this line, you can just move this line up.
Yeah, right. We've got some wiggle room. You want to go over to the car and see if it fits?
It's probably pretty close now.
All right, so we're over at the car. We're just doing a dry fit. Main thing is we want to make sure you can see it. It's nice and contoured. It matches this drip edge here on the beetle. So let's go ahead and close the door, and you can see the gap right there. We got some sun coming in, but you can see the gap right here. It's good. You can open and close the door without it hitting. And if we look at it up inside there, you can almost put a little bit more of a bend halfway through this bend and really get it up inside there so it won't come off. And what about the bend at the top when you set it up in there? Is it lining up with our...
Here. Here. Here.
Yeah, it puts us about halfway in the middle of that threaded bolt that holds down, so I think we're okay. We're looking good. Back over to the work table. Let's do this. All right, so we're back over the workbench, and we just need to get that halfway through that whole bend. We need to really kind of get it to curl up in there so it can stick up underneath that drain edge, the drip edge on the vehicle. So just a little bit of tweaking with that ball hammer. A little bit more right here on that side. I think the better way to do it maybe be laid on this awl. Can you hammer down on that side somehow? Not really, huh? Like this. You need a bigger piece of pipe in there, and then you can hit on that. You want that to come down a little more.
Yeah, it can come down a little bit more.
Yeah, let's just find a bigger piece of pipe we can roll it on. Yeah, that would work. Maybe if you just put it good.
This side here.
Just needs a little more right in there. How about like this? Just a little bit. A little bit too much right there, but that's fine. Man, that's a nice curve right there. That's gonna go right up underneath that drip edge and hold it up tight. So
let's go check it
again.
out.
Dry fit one more time. Yeah. All right.
I like it.
Pretty tight.
Yep.
It's up inside there. Let's shut the door once. And we got a nice 1/8 gap right through there. And we can tweak it. Once you tighten it up, it'll probably tweak a little bit too.
It'll pull up some.
So our most important thing is to find out if the threads line up where we're gonna bend it. Yeah, it should be pretty good. I say if we start bending right at the line, it'll give a nice curve, bring us down some. That way we can tighten it up and have more thread up top than down below. So let's go back over to the workbench and get her done. All right, let's go ahead and do the second one. We got the first one almost done. We're gonna get the hardest part done on the second one here. Once again, we'll put our pieces of metal in here because this clamp has little crosshatch. It's gonna make a mark on it and beat it up. And we're about 1/8 of an inch above the line. That way when we bend it, it could probably come up, yeah, just a hair more. We want it definitely above the magic marker line. That way when we bend it, it'll kind of bend into the magic marker line. Good?
Good, right?
Yeah, let me show them too. Where you've got it on that magic marker line. You can see it right there. We're about 1/8 of an inch above the magic marker line. So when we do the bend, it's actually going to roll into that line and start the actual bend there. And that's what we want. If we went down further, we'd be robbing ourselves of the actual curvature at the bottom, and we want that. Let's get up and personal. You can see what June's doing here. I'll hold the back of the clamp, or the vise, and he just bent it a little bit, maybe what? Maybe a 45-degree angle at first?
Yeah, maybe not even. Probably good.
Yeah, maybe a 30-some-odd degree angle. I'm not quite sure unless we measured it with this thing. Not quite a 45. So, but you can bend it back out. I mean, it's just basically trial and error. I would go less at the first time, and you can always go more a little bit later once we get it. With that ball hammer over top of that awl, we can really get it curved. Just going to push a little bit more.
Might have to use the hammer.
Yep. Just got that ball hammer, he's using the flat side to get a nice curvature in it. And he's going to raise it up maybe about 1/4 of an inch. That way we'll bend the 1/4 of an inch, and our bend will be in the middle of that 1/4 of an inch mark. Could probably bend it over top of that that awl. It's a good little bit to do.
Something like this.
And you can start off on that side there, and then we'll flip it over once you get your bend on it. right. Let's try to flip it around that way. I'll hold this in there like that. A little bit just right in the middle. Nice curve to it. It's got a really nice curve. Let me show them up against the car right there, the yellow car. You can see that curvature. That's sweet looking. I'd say we go over and check it for dry fit. It looks like it might be a little bit too much, huh? That, or we could open it up just a hair in the clamp. I think that's what we did before. Yep. And we can match it to this one. This one's got a more of a C shape. Almost identical, huh? Pretty closely. Yeah, it's almost identical. I'm happy with it. So let's go over to the car and dry fit it and check it. How's she looking?
It's pretty close. I think it's just a little too long or something.
Yeah, the sweep's a little long. You might have to cut a little bit off of that goes up inside there to pull it up closer. So you're just gonna have to cut a little bit of this very first part right here off.
Other than that, it's not bad.
Yeah, maybe a fat eighth.
Yeah,
something like that.
It's this gap here. Eighth, right?
And that'll bring us down a little bit, make us more in the middle of our threaded piece too here. Yeah, it's almost perfect. Not having an actual machine to bend this, I'm liking it. So let's head back on over to the workbench, get the final cut and the bend on this before we bend the top pieces and drill our holes. So we're making a mark. We're just going to trim off that last little bit. That way it goes up in there a little bit more snug and not quite as long. We want it to be fit and trim and precisely snugged up in there and not have to worry about it again. One more cut, quickie cut. Yeah, that's nice and tight right there. There's no gap. The door clearance is good. Yeah, door clearance is good. We're about an eighth of an inch, just as the other one bracket we made. The height is good. Even where the bend will be, we can bend right on the line, I think, to be safe on this one. It's a sweet deal. Let's finish this off. All right, we're ready to drill our holes now. And he's gonna start off with a smaller bit, and we're gonna work our way up to the final bit. over top of this, it would go right through the cable there. And he's going real slow with it. And we always start with a smaller bit and go up. That way we're not dulling a bigger bit and we won't break the bit off inside the metal. Go ahead and you can see what June did here. He rounded these edges here, and we'll take a light file later and cut down on there where these little hooks are here. Maybe we should round these edges right here, just so if you accidentally hit your head, or even though they'll be up inside there, I think it'd be safer if they're more pleasing to the touch. That's nice. That way if you're washing the car and you've got, you know, the sponge up under there or whatever, it's not going to rip into your sponge. And if somebody touches it, they're not going to get cut. Nice and aesthetic, pleasing. So we'll go around with a file around the outside. Use the grinder to clean it up a little bit. And we'll wire brush them and get some paint on them after this final bend. We got our last bend, that's it. This one's relatively easy because it's just a 90. Put that one right at it, I think. Pretty straight. Yes, we just push it back basically. want this one at a 90-degree angle. It's pretty good.
Get one running?
Yeah. How she look? Good. So you see the 90 right there. We'll do one more. The good thing with this metal is it will flex a little bit, but it's very rigid metal, so I think we're good. And you can see exactly how that looks right there. So it's going to go up under that drip edge like that, and this we can always bend out a little bit more, and our nut's going to go right up under there and hold this up right there to hold that rack on. So let's get on over to the car and double check it one more time before we go ahead and wire brush and paint them. All right, so we're over at the car. Take that off one time for him, June. You can see we got a threaded bolt here that's attached to the rack up here. And he's gonna just set it right down through that hole there and pinch it up against there. And that's a beautiful looking bracket. It's nice and wide, kind of retro-y, rat rod-ish, you know. You can always put a sticker on here after it's painted up. And we're good. Let's double check the other one as well. Double check the other bracket. It's pretty good. I think after we paint it, I'm going to dip these ends down in some, like, what is that stuff? Rubber dip. You can dip this down in rubber. That way it won't scratch your paint right here. And you can also dip your edges of your rack down in the rubber. These have the original rubber feet on them. This one doesn't. So once we get it on there, I think I'll paint it, dip this in rubber halfway up it. That way it won't scratch it right in there. So they look good to me. We're ready to wire brush them and paint them. Pretty clean. It's hard to see it out here in the sun. Just taking that rust off of there. All right, I'm just gonna do a little bit of fine tuning. I got a file out here and I'm just gonna go around these edges. If I feel them a little rough, I'm just going to kind of get any burrs that I might feel off of there. That way it's just more aesthetically pleasing. And it won't cut your hands if you touch it. And it doesn't take much, just a little bit. Just on the rougher sides there. Got one more. Just gonna go over with my finger, see if I feel anything here. Feel just a little bit right on those corners. Feels pretty good. These have been wire brushed, cleaned up on the edges. I'm gonna go ahead and rinse them with soap and water, use a hair dryer to thoroughly get them clean. And we're gonna go ahead and primer and paint them. All right, so I went ahead and rinsed those brackets off with soap and water inside and the sink, and I dried them with a nice clean towel, and we've got some of this Rust-Oleum primer. I'm gonna go ahead and hit it with it. This stuff dries in 15 minutes. We've got the brackets hanging on a rack right here. I'm gonna hit them with this, and then I'm actually gonna hit them with some galvanized Rust-Oleum, and then I'm gonna lightly hit them with some flat black and try to make it match that kind of rack. The rack's like a bronzy, just brown, but not quite silver, but not quite brown. So we'll worry about that later. Let's just get a coating of primer on them. That way they won't rust out in case we have to postpone till tomorrow to finish them up. I've been shaking this can up for about 5 minutes straight now. And that should, good stuff with this professional Rust-Oleum is you can spray it at any angle and it dries in 15 minutes. So I got the outsides of it good. I stayed back, kind of misted it a little bit. You don't want it too heavy, you're gonna get runs in it. I'd rather have less is more, but I got them coated. And once we hit them with that galvanized paint, it'll stick on there even while loading luggage and stuff. If you hit the bracket, someone's getting in and out of the car. Even if they scrape through our final layer of paint, we still got the galvanized and we still got the primer on there. So I'm gonna clean the can out just by spraying it upside down. Gotta clean out the nozzle there. About 15 minutes, we'll be ready to put the galvanized on there. And it might match it actually perfect with the galvanizing. So we'll see, once this dries, we'll check it out. All right, hey, all right, so the primer's dry now. We've got this galvanized, cold galvanized compound. It's a paintable galvanized. And I've been shaking it for about 5 minutes. So let's put a light layer on it and see what the color looks like. I think I'm not even gonna worry about color match. I'm just gonna put it on there. That's the whole purpose of that old 72 bug. Just whatever you have is whatever you use. It's almost a perfect match. And I'm looking at it. Pretty good for coat one. Go ahead and do about 2 more of these coats and we'll be ready to install these on the vehicle. All right, I got 2 coats of the galvanized, about 2 coats of the primer on there, and we've got this high performance enamel by Rust-Oleum. It dries in 15 minutes. I'm just gonna lightly, what do you think, hole paint it or just mist it? Because I kind of want it to look old, and the rack kind of looks like an old brownish galvanized. So let's just see what it looks like. I'll mist it a little bit. See if we can get that look that we want. That's pretty good. And we can get a close-up on these. You guys can see what they look like while they're drying. It dulled it down a little bit to where it's not quite gray, not quite black. Put it in the middle. Yeah. Excuse me. Here you go, Gene. And we're gonna let those dry. Just go ahead and let that dry a little bit, and we'll be ready to install those on the car. All right, so we're good. We got these brackets painted. You've watched us from start to finish using a piece of scrap metal just laying outside that we had on our scrap metal cart. We've got the holes in there, we've got the bend in there, the top bend, the lower crook that goes under the drip edge. And we got our bolts. June rethreaded this one bolt. It was a little beat up, which is expected from being so old. They could have stripped it out when they were pushing it through. We made our holes a little bit oversized. That way when we push it through there, it's not going to be damaging those threads. So we're ready to install this thing, right? We've got the bracket, we've got a nut, a flat washer, and we've got a split washer right here. And let's go ahead and just run it up through there. Just gonna move it over to where it's centered, to where that bolt's nice and centered there. June's got that flat washer, he's got a split washer, and we've got a nut. If we notice that vibrates loose over time, we'll just run a nylon, like kind of stop nut instead, with a washer as well. And you can put wing nuts on here as well. We didn't have any in the shop, so we're gonna hand tighten this today, and then we'll chase up to the hardware store and grab some wing nuts for it. That way you can take it on and off. If you want it not as easy to steal, I wouldn't put the wing nuts on there. I'd go ahead and put a nut, if not double nut it. That way they can't get it off at night when you're, if you're parked somewhere. Good, okay. Yep. He's gonna grab a wrench on that one and we'll go around to the other side here. Like I said, that thread over there was a little bit messed up, but we will fix it as we fix everything. We'll put the two guys how-to on it. And we're just gonna insert that right there, that bolt that was there. And if this thing didn't come with bolts, let me show you what kind of rig up they've got here. So if yours doesn't come with the actual receiving bolt on the actual rack itself, you can do this. You can go up to your local hardware store and you can get one of these bolts here. You can see it. It's just a bolt and it's split right here. So you'd have to open that up with a pair of pliers, a couple pairs of pliers, get it over, and then pinch this back together so it's actually on here, which is an easy way to do it. And you can see the bolt's a little bent. It's a galvanized bolt, but it's bent, so when you slide it forward like that, it comes out and the angle of the bend is perfectly straight with our bracket that we need. So, and I can show you guys how it fits together here. Even more up and close. You can see that hole we have right up into that receiving bolt, and you can see how it just kind of hangs right up underneath there, perfect. And the color is pretty good, actually. I don't think anybody's even going to know that we made these brackets. And if you were to buy these brackets online, I seen them made from Empy or by Empy for about $57 a bracket or something, and that's no guarantee it's going to fit your rack. So we're going to get this thing bolted down and run this thing up the road and see how she holds on. A little tricky to get up underneath there. 2 people's even easier. Yeah. Just pull it down and turn it around and spin it out. It's a sweet deal. Pretty good. Nice clearance right there, and we're good, man. That's it. Rack's nice and tight. The brackets look cool. I'm digging it. I like it a lot. And I'm gonna take them back off and dip these bottoms into some plastic dip where you dip it down in like you do for a screwdriver or rubberized coating on a pair of pliers. And that's it. Keith, that's June. 2 Guys How To. We're gonna run this thing up the street and maybe even get some old time luggage for it and then go on a little vacation here now that it's warmer. So we're here doing our thing. You guys are in there doing your thing. Don't be afraid to tackle these tasks. We just saved about $110 right there, maybe $114 on maybe what, hour and a half worth of work and some scrap metal and some spray paint. So do it yourself, save that money. Keith, June, 2 Guys How To. The 72 Volkswagen Beetle rack, authentic looking brackets is good to go, man. And we're gonna get some compliments on this. So we will see you guys later. Until next time, thanks for checking out the channel. Wow. I'm not a pig, I'm a lawyer.